G'day, I'm Dr. Harry Cooper. Welcome to our all-new 1-hour Harry's Practice. Now, I guess you're wondering what I'm doing down here at a pool first thing in the morning. Well, I want you to meet a new member of our team. And I happen to know that he enjoys a swim most mornings of the week. Say good day to Dr. Chris Brown. Here you go, mate. Thanks, Harry. Chris is going to be helping me out by looking after all those animals that belong to people that live in the big smoke, right?
That's right. Nowadays, more and more people are calling the inner city home and choosing pets to match their new lifestyle. And even local councils are riding the wave by relaxing laws on pets in apartments.
Mate, it sounds like you've got a busy day in front of you.
You better believe it, Harry. We better get on with it.
Too true. Also on tonight's 1-hour Harry's Practice, another new face, Natalie Beck. She grew up working in the family pet shop, so there's not much Natalie doesn't know about pet products.
So stay tuned each week to find out what's hot for your pets.
I'll make a house call to a famous Aussie singer-songwriter and his miniature schnauzers. G'day, mate. International rugby star Sterling Mortlock has a new baby, and his dog Bear is not impressed.
And for him, that's really abnormal.
And how much is that doggy in the window? For Peter Alexander, Penny the Dachshund was a bargain.
Kept walking past and seeing her for months, and then finally I walked by and she was on sale.
But first,
Most of us associate having pets with having space, a big backyard or even acreage. But if you live in the city like me, you won't have that luxury. So tonight, I'm going to show you my top 10 city slicker pets, starting with number 10 through to 6. Sitting proudly at number 10 is a French game dog that later turned heads as a fashion icon. You guessed it, it's a poodle. They're highly intelligent, easy to train and range in size from a tiny teacup up to a massive standard. In a small apartment, I'd go for a toy like Nelson. Their coat is great for allergy sufferers and won't shed on your furniture. Number 9 sees the first representative of the feline world. This good-looking bloke is a Burman. And his ancestors were sacred cats from the temples of Burma. Burmans are blessed with both looks and personality. Their settled temperament, undemanding nature and general good health make them an excellent house cat. And even though their silky coat does require grooming, it's less prone to tangles than other long-haired breeds. Swimming in at number 8 is the compact little turtle. And what a surprising package these dudes really are. Whether they're cruising across the floor or chilling out in their tank, the turtle is a perfect pet for a small space. They're very cool and fast becoming the next city trend. You'll need a licence from national parks to keep one, but it's worth the effort. After all, they can live up to 40 years. 7th place brings us to a regal canine, the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. These little dogs were bred as indoor companions, and those cute puppy looks, well, they stay for life. They're fantastic with kids and seemingly always in a good mood. When the weather's bad, they'll curl up on a cushion, but when the sun shines, they'll join you for a run in the park. All right, see? In 6th place, flying in all the way from the Canary Islands, is the humble canary. We tend to think of canaries as being yellow, but in fact they come in all the colours of the rainbow. They're quite happy living in a cage on their own or with friends, but it's the male's chirpy little melody that's going to make them a real hit with the neighbours. Well, that's all I've got time for now, but stay tuned, because later in the show I'll reveal my number 1 city pet.
anyone home?
Hi, I'm home.
Okay, I'm coming in.
Hi.
How are ya?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you, Kirsten. Hey, a swan's jumper.
Yeah.
Oh! No worries, next year is our year. But my patient is 2-year-old Lewis the Dachshund, and he needs my attention.
Chews constantly on his lead, take him for a walk, tug of war, everything.
Okay.
Can't walk him in a straight line without, fighting.
All right. Well, let's get organised. Come on.
Come on. Come here.
Lewis starts his tug of war with the lead as soon as it goes on, and the game never stops.
Don't bite it. No. Come on.
He's a bit of a goer, isn't he?
Yeah, he sure is. He never lets go of the lead.
Okay, so that's pretty normal. That happens every time you're walking.
Every time.
And you can see what Kirsten means about Lewis not walking in a straight line.
Come on.
Did you try and stop him?
Yeah, I do. But, nothing works.
Kirsten tried threatening Lewis with a tap on the nose.
No. No.
But he doesn't take any of these threats seriously.
No.
Lewis thinks it's all just part of a game.
No. Good boy.
But the lead isn't the only thing Lewis likes to sink his teeth into. He's got hold of this blanket, hasn't he?
Sure has.
And he's done a fair bit of chewing, hasn't he?
Yeah, he always chews his kennels.
Okay. This is yours. Is it?
And he drags his bed out, as you can see, he's about to do now.
He's very good at it, isn't he? Now, Lewis is a very mouth-orientated dog, but I reckon I know how it all started. When you first got him, did you play what sort of games with him?
I'm guessing you're going to want to know if I played tug-of-war.
Exactly. Did you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, tug-of-war is a great game for dogs. It helps strengthen their jaws and neck. But as long as you usually win the game, it shouldn't cause any behavioural problems. But he can't differentiate between this and when he's out on the road on the lead.
Yeah.
Nor can he differentiate between the lead and his bedding over there. So we need to put something on the lead so Lewis learns that unlike his bedding, it's not a toy. This is a bittering agent. It's a commercially available thing. It's usually used to stop dogs from chewing their feet. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty ordinary. Yeah. It would stop me chewing anything, I can tell you. You want a taste?
No.
It's pretty awful. But it doesn't stop Lewis from wanting to play with the lead. Don't think it's all that much of a deterrent,
I don't think that taste worries him.
And it'd stop me, I tell you. So I'm going to try some citronella oil instead. Well, so far, so good. But will a few drops on his lead be enough to bring Lewis's game to an end?
Don't you like it? Come on, play tug-of-war. Come on.
The citronella oil is a great deterrent. The ultimate test of whether it's going to work or not is to take Lewis for a walk. So let's clip that on and take him for a walk and see what happens.
Come here.
Lewis starts out well enough. He has a little go at the lead, but one taste of the citronella convinces him that the lead-biting game is over. Shake that lead at him for me.
Come here.
See if you can tempt him.
Do you want this in your mouth, like normal?
But Lewis can't be tempted. He's a changed dog. And in time, he will learn that there's a difference between this and playing with things in the backyard. Lewis can still play his tug-of-war games, but not when he's out walking on the lead. I think we've won.
I think it'll be fantastic.
Let's head for home. Come on.
Okay.
After the break, keeping a fish doesn't have to be complicated or costly.
Because there are hundreds of fish to choose from and one to suit every lifestyle and budget.
And Steve takes pet tricks up a notch when he teaches a mouse to kick goals.
Who needs David Beckham when you have a soccer star like young Chopper here? Who needs David Beckham when you have a soccer star like young Chopper here? I'm Steve Austin, and tonight I'm going to show you how you can coach your very own mouse soccer team. Now, our first step to soccer stardom is to get a little ping pong ball, put a few little holes in it, fill it up with food, and the object is to put it into the field, and as the little mouse nudges the ball, tiny bits of food come out. And that encourages them, good boy, Chopper, and that encourages your little guys to get interested in the soccer ball. Now, once they've got the idea with the practice ball, the next step is to replace it with the match ball. But what I'm going to do is put a little bit of cheese on it to keep their interest in it, put it down, and a very good little tip is to get a little bit of corn or wheat, and every time they roll the ball, reward them. Good boy, good boy. Now that they're nudging the ball in small bursts, to increase the distance, withhold the reward until they push it further. Oh, that's a good one. Good boy, Chopper. Now, with a little bit of practice, before too long, you'll have a whole mouse soccer team.
There's water views, and then there's underwater views. Aquariums like this one bring the natural beauty of the Great Barrier Reef right into your living room. But don't worry if you don't have the time or space for one of these, because there are hundreds of fish to choose from and one to suit every lifestyle and budget. If you're after a cheap, low-maintenance fish, then you can't go past the humble goldfish. They're hardy, easy to care for, and a great first fish for beginners. Goldfish come in a large variety of colours and sizes. Ideally, they need a rectangular tank, a daily feed, and a water change every 2 weeks. Goldfish cost around $3. Your tank and accessories will set you back about $50, but once you're set up, they're pretty easy to care for. With a reasonable budget and a little effort, you could keep tropical fish, and they come in colours that span a rainbow. You'll need a larger tank and accessories that include a filter, air pump, and a water test kit. Some decorations like rocks and plants will give the fish a place to hide. There are hundreds of tropical fish to choose from. Your aquarium supplier will help you pick fish that are compatible with each other. Some great first fish choices are cyclids, tetras, gouramis, and rainbow fish. And every tropical fish tank should have a catfish. They're fun to watch and they scavenge all the leftovers, meaning you spend less time cleaning the tank. Your fish will need a daily meal. And here's a tip. Make sure that only one person feeds them in your family so you don't run the risk of overfeeding. Here you go, guys. A tank and accessories can cost up to $800. You can pick a tropical fish from under $10, and you should spend at least 10 minutes a week caring for them. Now, if you're really enthusiastic about fish and you've got the time and money, then a saltwater aquarium could be for you. It'll need the same sorts of accessories as a freshwater setup, plus a hydrometer to check the salt level. The marine aquarium is a delicately balanced ecosystem that does require constant supervision. Now, you might think this rock is just a decoration, but it's called live rock because it supports an environment rich in microorganisms, which helps break down waste products in the tank water, kind of like worms in a compost heap. When it comes to choosing saltwater fish, try hardy varieties like damselfish, clownfish, and wrasse. Dartfish are small and colourful, and the tang eats algae in the tank. Build up your fish collection slowly. Add only a couple of fish at a time and then leave it for a month. This allows the tank community to stabilise and adapt to the new additions. These tanks are expensive to set up, and the fish don't come cheap either. They are a challenge to manage, but if you put in the time and effort, you'll be rewarded with a breathtaking underwater menagerie.
Aside from mowing the lawn early on a Sunday morning, a barking dog is one of the most common causes of a neighbourhood dispute. And we're about to visit a little dog that is causing a lot of problems. And that sounds like our man. Hello.
Hi, come in.
This is Diesel. He's a 9-month-old miniature schnauzer. And he barks every time anyone buzzes Kendall and Dave's intercom.
Hello.
Kendall, how you going? Nice to meet you. Not to mention coming into their apartment. He's talkative.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
that's one word for it.
Absolutely. Great place you've got.
Thank you.
Look outside, I wouldn't want to see the view.
Oh, okay. Everyone likes to see the view. Come on. Diesel.
Kendall and Dave live right up high in a garden apartment. So when Diesel barks, the whole neighbourhood knows about it.
Obviously, our main concern is the neighbours. You know,
Sure.
they've been really patient with us, but it's not getting any better. It's definitely not getting
We've
better.
had a couple of letters.
But it's not just the neighbours that are the problem. You see, Kendall is a fashion designer. She's operating her new company, Ruby Moon Collections, from home. And Diesel's barking is starting to scare off her clients, as well as the delivery men. Diesel's taken upon himself to be your own personal secretary. Yep. Not the friendliest, and he's basically screening your calls. So I need to help change Diesel from that overprotective secretary to a more friendly receptionist. Let me tell you a thing or two about barking. Pure and simple, it's how they communicate. We talk, they bark. Now, dogs will bark for two reasons. First of all, to raise alarm. So they'll sense a territorial threat and raise the alarm by barking their heads off. The second reason is boredom. A dog will bark simply to get attention. But that's not Diesel's problem. He's sensing people coming in and he's responding to that. This is his turf and he's willing to defend it. And up until now, he's been very successful. In his eyes, when people come and deliver things, he's barking away, they deliver and they leave. So to Diesel, he's won.
All right, so I'll just invite the delivery guy in, cup of tea, have him stay a while.
Hang on, what's going on here?
Could do that.
This is not the kind of training.
Probably the better solution is what I've got in mind.
Okay.
I'm going to use a technique called flooding. I've recorded the sound of the intercom buzzer and we're going to play it back to Diesel every day for a few weeks.
So every day he's hearing 100 different doorbells, but no one ever comes in. So what's the point of getting up off the couch and barking?
Next, we've got to help lower Diesel's territorial instinct. So I'm going to show Kendall and Dave what they need to do when they have visitors.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. So straight away he's at me, okay? Now, get immediate control. You've done me a big favour because he knows the basic commands of sit. So he's already doing it, but sit, Diesel.
By offering Diesel a food reward, I've become the dominant figure to him and turned what he thought of as a threatening situation into a much more enjoyable one.
So does that mean that everyone who comes into the house has to have a treat with them?
No, not necessarily. You can attain control, and I'd do it straight away. So as soon as the barking starts and you meet the person at the door, straight away, Diesel, sit.
And then Kendall needs to wait for at least 5 seconds of silence before handing over the treat. That way, she's not reinforcing the barking, but rather the good behaviour.
And look, don't reward him every time. Use what we call the poker machine principle. So he doesn't know he's going to get a reward, but he's willing to sit there and do all the right things just in case there's a reward waiting around the corner for him. In this case, there he is. Good boy.
Good boy.
I reckon in a month or so we should see some really positive results. I'll check up on Diesel later in the show.
Next, Cranky the Cockatiel's in real trouble.
We came out and there was feathers and blood just everywhere.
And do-it-yourself dog food. Natalie shows you how.
You'll save over $500 a year.
My next house call is to Lauren and Emily, who are putting the finishing touches to their new home.
Perfect timing.
Just as you picked up the last brick. How are you, mate?
Harry.
Good to see you. There are two cockatiels in this household. The yellow guy, Cranky, is the one with the collar and the problem.
One morning we came out and took the cover off and there was feathers and blood just everywhere. We didn't know what was going on.
They took Cranky to the vet, who put a collar on him to stop him getting to his feathers. But it didn't work. So the first step in solving this problem is to compare similar feathers from the two birds. And you notice that the grey feathers are all much bigger than any of the yellow feathers, and none of the grey feathers have any blood on them, but two of the yellow feathers do. You see, Cranky's feathers were still growing when they were pulled out, and growing feathers have a blood vessel running up the centre. So if we're finding blood on the floor of this bird's cage, can only be coming from one of two areas. It's either from a damaged growing feather or a wound to the skin of the bird. Have you ever actually seen either bird pull a feather out?
No.
You've just arrived in the morning to a scene reminiscent of World War IV.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I'll need to take a closer look at Cranky to work out just what's going on. Before we even look at the feathers under the wing, I want you to notice the very front of the bird's face. What do you see on that little thing we call the sear, that bit above the beak? What do you see there? Bit of blood? Let's look back here. Bit of blood, okay?
Yeah, blood on his face.
And when I try to clean it off, you can see a wound underneath. A wound that could only have been made by one bird, Derek. Now, to explain what's going on here, we're going to go bush. Use your eyes and look around and tell me how many birds you can see.
You can't see any.
You can't see any birds. And that's in around 5 acres of bush. Back at home, Cranky and Derek have to share the same small cage. Have you got a sister?
Yes.
How do you get on?
Very well now.
Did you always get on well?
No,
You didn't.
not when we lived together.
Isn't that interesting? And it's much the same for Cranky and Derek. So the answer to the problem, give each bird its own cage. I don't mind them talking, that's fine, but never the twain shall meet. Otherwise, one night, Dracula is going to go for the jugular and we'll have a little yellow bird sitting on the floor of the cage in a heap of feathers, and the little yellow bird won't get up again. So let's move Dracula out
Okay.
and move the little yellow bird in. Jug's boiling, time for the tea.
Peter Alexander is the Pyjama King, Australia's most popular sleepwear designer. Toni Collette, Lisa McCune and even Kylie Minogue all like to snuggle down in his designs. But Peter's biggest fan is his 7-year-old Dachshund, Penny, and it's not hard to see why.
She was in the window of a shop, in a pet shop, and I kept walking past and seeing her for months, and then finally I walked by and she was on sale. And I walked into the pet shop and said, I didn't know you put dogs on sale. And they said, well, no one wants her and she's getting old and we're going to send her back. And I didn't like the sound of that, send you back. So I literally just picked her up that day and took her home and said to everyone at work, look, I got a hot dog for lunch. And that's how she came to be.
And since moving in with Peter, life's just got better and better for Penny. Now, I have not met a dog as spoilt as her.
No, she's a real penthouse pet. She likes the high life, the high living. She likes an elevator. She doesn't do stairs.
That's right, she doesn't do stairs. Peter's installed an elevator in his apartment just for Penny. And that's not all. Peter's also lowered his bed so she doesn't hurt her back when she wants to jump up. And then there's the colour scheme.
The couches were all done in colours to match her fur so we couldn't see it. It was her in mind the whole way through when I designed this apartment.
Penny really is the apple of Peter's eye and he hardly goes anywhere without her.
I take her to work every day. We're only probably apart 1 or 2 hours a day, which is really sick and unnatural, but...
Yep, Penny is one spoilt dog, but the good life and overindulgence is starting to show. She's carrying a bit of weight. Have a feel of this. See how you can't feel her ribs very easily?
Yeah.
So what we say is you should be able to feel the ribs, and if you can't, then a dog's a little bit overweight. Which means I need to take a look at Penny's diet. Show me what she'd eat in a day.
OK, well, she normally has a handful of chicken for lunch, and then for dinner she has probably about 2 handfuls of this diet food. So I do just the normal 2 handfuls, but sometimes diet food she's not that keen on, so I put a bit of chicken stock on it, or I get some liver sprinkles and just do a little bit of a sprinkle, and then she'll go for it.
And that stimulates
it.
Yeah. For a start, I'd replace the lunchtime chicken with chicken necks. They'll take her longer to eat, they have fewer calories, and they'll help keep Penny's teeth clean.
Great.
What I'd be doing would be taking out probably about that much. I can hear you coming.
She can hear the food or smell it.
I'd be taking about that much, and what you can also do is just grate a carrot.
Right.
Bit of a grated carrot on there.
Yep.
Something like chicken stock on top to make her want to eat is a good idea as well.
She likes carrot.
And what about treats?
Well, I sometimes give her like 2 strips.
2 whole strips a day?
Yes.
Okay, well I guess that's where she's going to miss out, but you know what? That's 2 strips there. She'll be just as happy if she gets little tiny pieces. But cut
You're going to have to
down.
feed me more than Penny, I think. I'm in the habit.
It's exactly that. It is the habit, and she'll respond. She'll be really, really happy. But of course, diet alone isn't going to do it. Penny also needs to exercise.
What exercise? We don't have an exercise regime, which is the bad bit. I know that we both need to get out more, but even when we go to the park, she just wants to sit under a tree and watch life go by, so it is a bit of a struggle to get her going.
Even a couple of walks around the block each day will make a big difference. But I've got something else that's going to help. Now, the key is to find something that's going to really motivate her, something that's going to get her active and help her lose a few kilos. And these toys seem to be doing the trick already. Her only problem, which one to play with first? Well, it looks like she's having a great time.
She is, and I've got something for you. Some of my pyjamas featuring Penny.
Are they Penny jammies?
They're Penny pyjamas.
They are so cute. I'll go try them on. These are great, thank you.
They look perfect on you. You're all snug and ready for bed
They're
now.
so comfy.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a plane to catch. See you later,
Like that?
Yeah, no worries. Bye, Penny. Nice to meet you. You're so comfy. Bye.
Enjoy. Bye.
After the break, Chris helps out rugby star Sterling Mortlock and his dog Bear. There's a new baby at home and Bear's dropped his bundle.
No longer top dog.
That's right.
And Luke the cat's locked in the laundry, but not for long. Pet Cam catches all the action.
This week's Secret Life of Pets checks out a 12-month-old tabby called Luke. He's learned how to open the laundry door and escape, and his owner Greg really wants to know how Luke does it. The perfect job for Pet Cam, so let's see. Luke's one very smart cat. He goes straight for the door handle, but doesn't quite get enough leverage to finish the job. He's back for another try, and this time he's got 2 paws onto it, and he's giving it a real good go. Next, he tries swinging his whole weight off the handle, and he's almost got his paw around the other side. This time he lunges for the handle, and hey presto, he's out of there. Not content with that, Luke performs the same trick again, this time straight out the front door. See you later, Luke.
International rugby players are renowned for not taking a backward step in the face of some tough opposition. But, as you're about to find out, the same can't be said for their pets. Sterling Mortlock has been playing Test rugby for the last 3 years. And he's best known for kicking the penalty goal that clinched Australia our first ever Tri-Nations victory.
The Tri-Nations rests with his right kicking boot. Has he kicked it well? Oh! Sterling Mortlock from touch has put Australia in the leads.
This is a man who excels under pressure. And it's just as well because he's going to be carrying the hopes of the country on his shoulders in the Rugby World Cup. But footy isn't the only thing on Sterling's mind. He and his wife, Caroline, are worried about their dog, Bear.
Hey, hello, Caroline.
Good.
This is the big Bear.
Yes.
Bear's a 3-year-old golden retriever, and he's always been an important part of Sterling and Caroline's life.
Yeah, he was basically our first baby, and now we actually do have a 10-month-old boy. He sort of doesn't get as good as he used to, sort of thing. But,
no longer top dog.
That's right.
Bear's had trouble adjusting to his new position in the pack.
Bear.
And even seems a bit scared of baby Harrison.
He's avoiding Harrison altogether. Yeah.
Bear's new position at the bottom of the pack seems to have made him more timid. But it's worth bearing in mind that no dog can be entirely predictable, especially when small children are involved.
Bear was in the bedroom. He was pretty much cornered between the bed and the wall, and Harrison had him there, and Bear growled at him.
Okay.
So immediately we picked up Harrison and, you know, I think we put Bear outside or
Yeah, said
something.
no.
Yeah.
There are a number of situations that can trigger a confrontation between a dog and a small child.
To be on the safe side, we've always got to provide Harrison with constant supervision. As you can see, he's quite mobile already and showing a fair degree of speed around the floors. So very quickly he could get himself into a confronting situation with Bear.
Next, Sterling and Caroline need to make quite sure that Harrison doesn't go anywhere near Bear's food.
Food is seen as the sacred object for Bear. Yeah. It's his meal and it's how he survives, is by eating. And if he sees Harrison threatening that, it's unpredictable how he'd respond.
And another thing dogs are protective of is their toys.
Kids love to play with toys, so do dogs. So always ensure that Bear's toys are kept outside for Bear to play with, and Harrison's toys are kept inside.
And what about Bear? Well, it's going to take him some more time to get used to Harrison.
All of a sudden, he's confronted with a 2 or 3 foot tall little creature that walks on 4 legs. And for him, that's really abnormal. That's really breaking from the normal pattern that he's used to.
So when Bear behaves in a calm and positive way around Harrison, he should be encouraged and rewarded with food treats.
Before too long, you'll find that Bear will be looking out for Harrison. Yep. And they'll be little mates. And they'll be getting along really well. Well, thanks very much for all the good advice.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Coming up, what's the best thing about having a wildlife-friendly garden?
You can come outside and enjoy your native visitors anytime you like.
Earlier in the show, I brought you the first of my top 10 city pets. Well, in a moment, I'll reveal the winner.
But first of all, let's check out the runners-up.
Coming in at number 5 is a giant of the canine world, the majestic Great Dane. So small space doesn't have to mean small dogs. It's the time you put in that counts. The Great Dane's docile personality makes them perfect for apartment living. They'll quite happily hang out while you're at work. Just 2 walks a day and you'll keep them smiling. And trust me, that's smiling. Popping into 4th place is a real favourite with the kids, the super cute dwarf lop-eared rabbit.
Now these guys are dead set attention seekers, so make sure you give them plenty of love and affection. The best time to buy a baby bunny is around 8 weeks of age. Then feed them just the right amount of hay, pellets and fresh veggies and you'll have a faithful friend for life.
3rd place goes to a no-frills feline, and they're as tough as old boots.
You guessed it, the good old domestic moggy. There's no such thing as arranged marriages in their world. Moggies account for around 90% of Australia's 2.9 million cats. They come in all shapes, sizes and colours, making them a real household favourite.
In 2nd place is a dog with the best of both breeds, the Maltese Shih Tzu Cross.
You could say they've been custom designed for inner city living.
They don't yap as much as other small dogs, so you keep the neighbours on side, and with a gentle nature and a cute little face, it's no wonder they're the dog to be seen with. Well, the time has come to announce the winner. The #1 city pet goes to the British Blue. It's hard to believe around 100 years ago the luxurious Blue was an outdoor farm cat. But when they moved indoors, they found their true calling in life as the perfect house companion. They love to kick back and relax. I don't think these poms even know the sun shines in Australia. And their handsome looks will complement even the most stylish apartment. Oh, and there's one other reason I chose the Blue. They're really easy to handle, especially when they visit the vet.
Tonight I'm going to show you how to bring the bush and all its creatures right into your own backyard. You'll experience Mother Nature on your doorstep and be doing your bit to preserve our precious native wildlife. First up, take stock of what plants you have in your garden. You see, our native critters seek food, shelter and nesting sites in natural bush, so if you want wildlife to live in your garden, you'll need to plant a variety of native trees, shrubs and grasses that grow in your local area. Let's take a look at birds. Birds eat a variety of foods like nectar, fruits, seeds and insects, so if you provide a smorgasbord of plants, you'll have birds flocking in. Flowering shrubs like this grevillea provide great tucker for a number of birds. They produce nectar, which lorikeets and honeyeaters just love, and they attract insects for wrens and willy wagtails to eat. Where are you going, hey? Banksias and bottlebrush produce spectacular bird and insect attracting flowers. And eucalypts, casuarinas and native grasses offer a feast for seed-eating birds like cockatoos, corellas and rosellas. Just like us, birds need a drink and a dip, so why not put in a bird bath? Now, it doesn't have to be fancy, just make sure it's high enough so they can see if the neighbourhood cat is approaching. Spiky hakeas will encourage small birds to nest in your backyard, and melaleuca and banksias are good too. They're dense and protect the little fella's nest from predators. Larger birds like parrots make their homes in tree hollows. But if you don't have any hollows, you can always put up a nesting box. This leaf litter is great for your garden. It not only provides nesting material, but it's rich in worms and insects, so it's a great food source for kookaburras and magpies. Plus, it's a fantastic way to attract lizards to your yard. You'll find them living in hollow logs, under rocks and scampering around in the leaf litter. But if you don't have those things in your garden, here's what you can do. A great substitute for hollow logs are pieces of old pipe. They offer your blueies good protection from predators. You happy in there? Lizards are a welcome addition to any backyard because they eat unwanted insects like snails, beetles and even funnel-web spiders. And don't tidy up your yard too much. Birds, lizards and other natives need that undergrowth for protection, shelter and food. You know, the best thing about creating a wildlife-friendly garden is you can come outside and enjoy your native visitors anytime you like. You shouldn't feed native wildlife. Some animals can become dependent on you and starve if you stop feeding them. Plus, they might not be getting all the nutrients they really need.
After the break, I'll be making a house call to a fair dinkum Aussie. This bloke is as dinky-die as meat pies and teammate in a billy. He sings a song or two and he's got a couple of dogs.
Hi, I'm Virginia and this is Edgar. He is my best friend. He is 15 now, so he takes a lot of extra care. Even though he's blind and deaf, he loves to go for walks every day to meet his friends. We love each other very much.
Boy, what a day. But I reckon I'm at the right house. I can hear a bit of guitar picking. And I can see two dogs as well, so I'm there for sure and for certain. Here we go. G'day, mate.
Oh, you're here, Harry? Well done. How was the trip?
Oh, the trip was a bit miserable. Have a look at it outside. It's a blue duck, isn't it?
A bit cold, so I got the fire going for you.
Oh, it looks great.
The dogs like it too.
Looks fantastic. John Williamson is one Aussie performer that needs no introduction. He's an Aussie music legend, and I'm a big fan. John's been singing and writing songs for almost 30 years. Cripes, that's almost as long as I've been a vet. His latest album is True Blue 2, a collection of some of his best-known songs.
Is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo?
John has a couple of miniature schnauzers, 3-year-old Poppy and 6-year-old Baby, and he needs some advice on a really common problem, and that's paralysis tics. John reckons that was what killed his third schnauzer, Whitney, earlier this year.
She was a beautiful dog. The reason we got Whitney in the first place, it was a second-hand dog. Well, we always get them second-hand because they're already pretty well bred and you don't have to worry about them piddling in the house and all the rest of it. And we had our youngest daughter, Georgie, always had problems sleeping at night, and we had the idea that maybe a dog would help. And Whitney seemed to know what the job was. We would lie her down on the bed, put her head on the little pillow, pull the doona over, and she wouldn't move all night. It was just brilliant, and that really got Georgie over her problems.
Whitney's buried in a special place in John's backyard.
So there's a little walk there now. It's called Whitney's Lane, and it's through the little corner of our yard that I dedicate to our rainforest country. There's bangalow palms, and I've got a naughty little blue boy who guards the grave.
Ticks are a real worry, a real problem, and we've got lots of species of ticks in Australia, and the problem is that really we've only got one major one that causes this paralysis. It's called Ixodes holocyclus, and it's found right up and down most of the east coast of Australia. For such a small little creature, the damage they cause and the heartache they cause people is quite incredible.
Yeah.
John uses Frontline Plus on his dogs, and that's a good start. But if you live in a high-risk tick area, a daily skin check is a must. I like to start with the nostrils. Then I lift the lips back and I look inside the lips.
It was in there where Whitney's was.
Yeah. Next, look at the eyes and the ears. And don't forget to remove that collar because ticks often get missed here. Check the body by creeping your fingers against the run of the hair.
Doesn't mind affection.
You're feeling for something like a pimple or a wart. And if you find one, remember there's a right way and a wrong way to remove them.
I've tried Kera because they like to hold on. I thought maybe kerosene weakens them a bit and it makes them let go, but I don't know if that's true or not.
I've never seen a tick back out in my life. I think it's time for a tick removing demo. And I'll start with this little device. It's a tick remover. Now, I don't have a real tick, so I've knocked up a fake one. You'll get the general idea. You get the loop out, slip it over the tick, right, twist it around once, and bingo, out it comes. Well, you could use a pair of tweezers. Just grab it close to the head, flip it on its back, and pull it straight out. Can you remember back to when Whitney and your other dog got tick paralysis? What sort of symptoms did you see?
Well, it's always been the back legs going first. I think probably is almost... they've had probably for a day when that happens, but I always notice the back legs first. That's when we immediately think tick, wow, we better look a bit harder.
Yep. Weakness of the back legs is a telltale sign. But look out for breathing problems or vomiting and get your pet to the vet ASAP because anti-serum is the only treatment. Now, enough about ticks. What makes John Williamson tick?
Well, I always say... Harry, that I'm most alive when I'm on stage, and that I've been doing that since I was a kid. As an amateur as well, even though I was a farmer and all the rest of it. It's making money out of my hobby, I suppose, making a life out of my hobby.
And there's one little song I want to hear before I go. Can you guess?
Well, it cost me $30 to fix the budgie, when the little blighter only cost me $5. The veterinary surgeon saw me coming, but I had to keep my feathered friend alive. He was shaking on his perch, the kids were crying. The family gathered round his little cage. I said, I thought it's time we got a new one. That's when the family went into a rage. Well, the waiting room ponged like a rat house. With plumworms and heartworm and lice, and a Persian had her eye on the shoebox. I suppose she thought our budgie might be nice. Well, the bird pooped on the veterinary surgeon. I heard him say, the dirty little chick. I guess he wondered why I didn't use my brains and hit him over the head with a brick. Oh, antibiotics for his colour, 2 drops a day on his beak, some powder on the nose for his feathers, and clean out his cage twice a week.
Thanks, mate.
He's out